We also know that our commitment to justice must be realized both through proclamations and marches and beyond them. The movement for racial justice happens every day in slow and critical work to address disparities in employment, in housing, education, and in economic opportunity. Much of what you discussed, Commissioner Smith, in your opening remarks about the disparities faced by African American communities and communities of color here in Oregon, we see that play out in ways that lift up the difficulties where race and sexual orientation and gender identity intersect. The work of the Portland Black chapter of PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, and the Urban League of Portland through their work to lift up the experience of LGBT African Americans in Portland. I think in Portland demonstrates that very well. So again, we support the proclamation before the Board of Commissioners today. We support the day-to-day work to realize justice for communities of color in Oregon. And we're proud to support the Albino Ministerial Alliance and the many community groups, the NAACP and others, who are working to commemorate this historic anniversary. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bethel.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Cogan and Commissioners. Dr. T. Allen Bethel, Senior Pastor of Maranatha Church, President of my Ministerial Alliance, and the co-chair of the AMA Coalition, and all of that in. In the early years of history in this country, of which much, if not all of this country, was built by the workforce of slaves and treated as property under horrific conditions and contempt. During my life, I've seen such treatment, maybe not as horrific as then, but enough. The riding to the back of the bus, separate drinking, eating, and even shopping establishments, and living in a community within the capital of the state of South Carolina, where even today, at the beginning of that community is a dirt road, and the second half, or the last half of that road in the community is paved, all because the white landowners, even in this 21st century, refused to allow the road to be paved to serve those, and I'll leave it at that. The 1963 March in Washington was a culmination of a period of time that declared enough is enough. Jobs, education, equality, and justice is demanded for all, and we are here, as the late Dr. King said, to cash a check that has been returned and stamped insufficient funds, a check today which still has not been totally honored as paid. This Saturday, August 24th, the citizens of the communities of the greater Portland and surrounding areas will join hands again to celebrate the anniversary of this historic moment in history, fanning the flame of the principles of the historic 1963 March and the resounding cadence of I have a dream, let freedom ring, and that day will come. To educate by discovering, understanding, and becoming aware of the struggle for civil rights is still a pertinent and vital issue for all people, that access to education, employment, housing, transit choices, and healthcare services, and the right to vote without restraint or attempts to eliminate that right, and access to the ballot box is still an ongoing struggle. To demonstrate by regaining the same sense of responsibility to not remain silent, but to speak and act must be intensified greatly today. To demonstrate by encouraging all to lifelong learning, steady and fair wage employment, seeking health care services for all, and yes, registering all people to vote with educated decisions. Today, as the Multnomah County Commissioners, you all will vote, passing and signing the proclamation proclaiming August 23rd through August 30th, 2013, Civil Rights Week in Multnomah County, Oregon. That lends great support to the continued struggle and the responsibility to act, which is greater now than ever. I thank you for your support in making this proclamation and the leadership of Commissioner Loretta Smith in sponsoring this historic proclamation. We are pledged to keep the dream alive until the final victory is won. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for all the remarks. Dr. Bethel, can I ask you to stay at the dais?